It's a quick fix.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fix the Family. My name is Raylan Alamo and we are bringing you truth without compromise for the family. We are on location at the Latin Mass Chapel in South Louisiana on this. We're recording this on August 27th, 2015, our blog edition, a little quick fix for you. Today we're going to talk about Catholic homeschooling, which is a very important component part of the lifestyle and philosophy that we promote here at Fix the Family. It's going to be almost near impossible to try to do some of the things we're talking about without that family out there homeschooling. And I want to direct those who are maybe more fluent here at our YouTube channel to make a point of visiting our website, fixthefamily.com, the blog there, because that's where a lot of content also comes out. And so I want to talk about that last blog article that I did on this topic, where I talked about the mothers as being educators. Because sometimes, with that question we get, well, if our daughters don't necessarily go to college or have an occupation, then what are they going to do going forward? And that kind of just shows you the depth of the problem where we are as to motherhood and the state of where ladies are thinking, and men for that matter, as far as how ladies play a role as wife and mother in the home. And so the natural progression for our families there is for mothers, and wives in Catholic households to actually become the educators of their own children. The primary point I make in that blog article is that never have we before been in a better position for mothers to educate their own children for two reasons. Because of the education level of those mothers, as well as the resources, the abundant resources available to just ordinary people to be able to educate their own children all the way through a high school diploma. And so we highly recommend that and promote that here at Fix the Family. So we're getting some more traffic on these things and some more discussions. And so what I wanted to do is share in this quick fix a couple of the questions, the natural questions that would come out on that type of article on that point. So one question was, well, what was it that we know you out there about not necessarily recommending girls to go to college and that kind of thing. So the question there the gentleman asked was, how educated or uneducated do you think these young ladies should be? And the question right before that, what's your problem with education? Well, I don't have an issue with education. I highly recommend it and promote it. And we have to distinguish between college and education. And the thing I see is that the school systems have a problem with education. Okay, I don't have a problem with education. But to answer the question, how educated do I think these young ladies should be? I think they should be comprehensively educated. Okay, not just academically trained or job trained, because that's essentially what happens, and why they're going to college is because they eventually want a job coming out of that college degree. So it's really job training. It's not really education. If we were educated, we wouldn't learn just one little piece of the pie of how it is to live our life. We should comprehensively educate everybody. So these young ladies should be learning how to be a wife and mother in the home if they're going to get married. If they want a profession, a technical skill and a career, then they probably need to go to a convent to be able to properly use that for the Catholic people and for the Catholic way of life. That's what nuns used to do. And then the convents will fill up again. Those that are drawn to that kind of an occupation. But if they want to be a wife and mother, that occupation very much will conflict with their ability to be a good wife and mother. It will conflict. And that's going to happen, and that's the struggle so many face. So then, in response to that, a young lady asked a question where she says, well, I'm not sure I'm understanding, because you're saying, for one, they are well equipped to be able to homeschool their kids, but they don't know how to be wives and mothers, so they don't know how to homeschool their kids. And I addressed the young lady and I said, yes, precisely. You have very much and very well identified that issue that we are proposing for these people to fix in their families. Is that the young ladies are not educated to be a wife and mother in the home. And there's a solution there. There's a solution to that. Instead of going to college, you take that time when you normally would go to college and you learn those skills. And pretty much the solution happens within one generation. And I'll point back to myself. You know, my wife and I had to do that. You know, she wasn't necessarily prepared to live the lifestyle that we did, but we had mentors. And I see it very often happening. The most common way for it to happen, this is what happens. A young lady, she becomes interested in a young man who's in one of these families. And she's attracted to him. Not just because he's cute. Well, he might be cute, but not just because he's cute, but also because, or mainly because, the stability that she sees in that young man's family. And she might come from a broken family. She might come from a family where there were divorced parents, and she might yearn for some of that stability. So she says, I want that for myself and for my prospective husband and for my prospective children. So she's drawn to that. And so she starts not only courting that young man, but going around that and going to his home and learning from that family how to do this for her future husband and for her future children. Can be fixed within one generation, and then they pass that down to their very own children. This is happening, ladies and gentlemen, in homes and in communities all over. And we want you to be a part of it. We want you to catch it. We want you to come on into it and start learning these things, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is how family life, how Catholic family life is supposed to be. It should look starkly different from what the rest of the world, because the Catholic school system in a lot of cases is just preparing other, students there just to be just like other pagan people in the world with a Catholic label on it. Is that doing justice to the education for these young people? Is it preparing them to get into strong families that are going to stay together and withstand the society that is around us? That's the questions we need to ask. We need to ask tough questions. We need to ask tough questions of the Catholic school system. And what I told the young lady was that what has to happen is we have to have some humility and some desire for the sanctity and holiness of ourselves and of our kids. And if that's our primary thing, then we're going to start really examining what we're doing and where we're placing our children and the kind of education that they're getting. Are we just trying to be part of the world and with occupations, and seeing how much financial stability we can have, or are we striving for sanctity and holiness and permanence in our families and in our marriages? That's the questions we need to ask. We need to ask tough questions of the system and tough questions of ourselves and what our desires are. That's our quick fix for today at Fix the Family. My name is Raylan Alamo. Thanks for coming by. Come back and see us. God bless you.